So, my name is Eric, and I am African. I was born in Ghana. Traveled across the continent in the last few years, about 17 African countries. And the reason was why I travel was very simple. As a Ghanaian, so those of you who don't really have a better view of Africa, Africa is 54 countries, uh, 1.4 billion people, 65% under age of 30, and rich in mineral resources. But to me, I think the powerful resource we have as a continent has to do with its people. And so growing up, I was very curious and asked a lot of questions, and those questions made me to begin to kind of move around the continent to understand the perspective from West Africa, because if you're in Africa and you're in West Africa, even in West Africa, the dynamics and the difference is so much. So in West Africa, we have French-speaking countries, we have English-speaking countries, and one or two speak Spanish. And so the dynamics and the heterogeneous nature of Africa makes it extremely difficult, especially if you want to venture into entrepreneurship, build stuff from Africa. Unlike, for example, if you are in Silicon Valley in the US, you have one market, largely English-speaking society, and you face regulation, national regulation. Of course, there will be state by state different challenges in the US, but you have a market that is open to you, one currency. But African narrative is not the same. You have different currencies, different languages, different people. West Africa is different from East Africa. East Africa is different from North Africa. North Africa is different from Central Africa and Southern Africa. So I decided to travel, at least let me understand the entire continent. So I've been to almost all the West African countries. I've been to about 6 countries in East Africa. I've been to about 4 countries in South Africa, and I'm yet to go to the North Africa. Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, Libya. These are what we call the northern part of Africa. But most of, they see themselves part of Middle East. So Egypt, Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco, they consider themselves to be part of Middle East more than to do with Africa. So I've not actually gone there personally, but I know their dynamics and the history. And so why did I do that? I did that because I was born to think that I can only do much. I'm not driven by a lot of money. Of course, I want to make money, but I want to be remembered to have impacted positively on society. I want to be remembered to have contributed to the progress of many people in my region, especially support young people to activate and to see their dreams realized. And that enabled me to kind of do this groundwork to understand how the best my contribution can help facilitate, grow, and empower many people to build local problems that have global relevance. And so that, led me to Aya. Of course, Aya is not my first startup. I've done a few things, but that's for another day. Let's talk about Aya. So last year, I was fortunate to be in ZuVillage, and I met incredible people. One of them, Veronica Burns, and Gary, Jenny, Marine, and many other people that we met, and observing how folks built and collaborated kind of changed my perspective as an African founder. And a year on, I would say that the benefit of ZuVillage has impacted the entire continent. Before ZuVillage in Africa, we're all talking about, we are training devs, ZuVillage has changed the concept from training devs to builders. Nobody was talking about builders in Africa before ZuVillage. After ZuVillage, now I started advocating builders, and now everybody is talking about builders in Africa. Today, Base have the biggest movement in Africa, or on-chain builders in Africa. So these are some of the positive impacts, at least our little contribution is having on the continent. My being ZuVillage also opening up the African space for optimizing little PGF to be open to African communities. And early this year, more than 7 communities in Africa got to PGF for the first time. That was remarkable. So it means that if you determine to do something for public good, for the good of others, it's give fruits beyond our personal interests. And so that has been my journey so far. So quickly, I was also in ZuConnect, and then incredibly, I met two guys, Chinese from China, who organized Mu. So Mu Chamai, Mu Bonus Ari, and then they did muAccra. And the success of muAccra has been significantly outstanding. So I give a talk called The Mu Journey and the Higher Quality Mindset. So quickly, I will share. So this is the higher playbook. What we are doing, we are growing the on-chain builder economy in Africa as an ecosystem of trust to enable African builders to innovate using blockchain technology, especially delve into the Ethereum ecosystem. Because to me, I strongly believe that blockchain is an amazing technology, but its relevance is really, really felt if you go out of the West, America, Europe, Singapore, Hong Kong, and you get to the frontier market like Southern America, places like Colombia, Argentina, South Asia, like Thailand, Indonesia, Africa, you begin to see the relevance of blockchain. For us, it's just a nice to have in the West. To me, and many people who have delved deeper into this technology realize that it is a need in Africa. However, how do we enable local people to build local problems using the technology for the global relevance? That made us to kind of think about what we are doing. So as a 360 view, we enable young people to give them the necessary skill, the training that they need, and we enable them to build through IR Lab. So think of IR Lab as eGlobal. eGlobal has been around for the last 5, 6, 7 years. They have never organized any hackathon in Africa. What it means is that if you're African builder, you're a developer in Africa, your chances to be able to build reputation is so limited. So what do? You don't have to cry about it. We have built IR Lab. So IR Lab is a 360 end-to-end hackathon platform that has been built with understand the African challenges to enable African builders to get into hackathons, build their reputation, and have global relevance. That's IR Lab. So far, we have over 1,000 plus builders on IR Lab, over 77 projects built on IR Lab, over 20 communities signed up on IR Lab, and it's still work in progress. So that's at the IR platform. Then we have IR Builder Hub, which is a physical space where young people can come together, builders can come together, vibe, stay connected, like you have ZuVillage, you have ZuVillage Georgia. You don't have such experience in Africa. I have started the movement. We have one in Accra. We are setting up the next one in Kenya in a few weeks or months. And the goal is to have at least 5 of these physical spaces across Africa where we can begin to accelerate and grow the on-chain experience. So in short, this is a move. It was an amazing 2 weeks pop-up city for African builders from 4 countries: Nigeria, Ghana, Uganda, and Kenya. With our move partners, still in Accra, and it was the first of its kind ever done in Africa. And the experience has been tremendous. This is quickly, these are our stats. If you check our stats, it shows you the interest. We had over 60% developers applied, researchers, computer science students, and they all stayed together for 2 weeks, and the feedback have been tremendous. We have done a report. I've shared a report on the ZuVillage community. Please go through the report, give us your feedback, and I would say that Africa is a place where you want to experience, because there are a lot happening here, but little is said about Africa. And these are some of the vibes. So the collective vibe that we had in muAccra. And StackNet was one of our major sponsors, and here is their feedback after they came. It was interesting experience. During muAccra 2 weeks, we had a hackathon where young people built, and it was just $27,000 price tag. This is the highest so far in the continent. Guess what? You see global hackathons with $1 million price tag. In Africa, we are pushing ourselves. It started from $500. $200, $500. Now, at least we have, $27,000 price tag. If Safari is coming up, I've seen that they will have about 30,000 plus price tag. So we are getting there gradually. These are the team that won and the best team that won the hackathon. Two of the projects is already scaling. iExchange, the one that won the ultimate prize, is actually building to market. So it means that the more we can have more hackathons, we can actually innovate using this technology to solve local problems with the global relevance. And these are the team. So this Aya space, we have a program called the Aya Founder Program, which help early stage founders or first-time founders in Africa in Web3, help them with go-to-market strategy, team building, and our first pilot for sarcasm.ai, as I speak, zero funding, no funding yet. They've already have over 50,000 users. They've gone through Morph Accelerator as the only African project, and they did a product demo. You can check on sarcasm.ai, amazing predicting tool. Recently, Vitalik talked about the future of Ethereum, where you could think about Ethereum as a future prediction. And these guys are already ahead of the curve. They are building an on-chain predicting tool. You can predict anything in life, politics, sports, everything that you can think of. These guys are building from Ghana, and please support them if you can. Show them love. Let's empower young people who can dream, and then so they can stop moving around the Mediterranean Sea in search of opportunities outside the continent. I believe we need to empower young people to stay here and contribute value to the global economy. What happened? After muAccra, something bigger has unlocked. We have African on-chain collective. From the Aya collective mindset, we have now embodied it, embraced it by the community leaders across the continent to say, oh, Aya, we believe in your collective mindset approach. What if we can have an African on-chain collective? We said, why not? For us, it's all about how do we harness the entire continent, connect our hours together so we can do something that make meaning, contribute value to the entire ecosystem. So after muAccra, we have the African on-chain collective, and the goal is very simple: harness resources, bring all community together, and then be able to connect with have a hyper-local network and connect the global communities so we can together co-create value for Africa and the entire Ethereum ecosystem to be able to have value created in Africa. So I'm happy to be here today to join the Georgia team, Veronica and Brian, the team behind. Thank you for giving the opportunity to share what we're doing in Africa, especially after Zuzalo. People are, what next? We are not sleeping, we keep working, we keep building. And in the coming days, we are going for a safari, and we'll be making some announcements about setting up a new Aya facility in Kenya to enable more young people to have voice, express their voice through value creation. Thank you so much, and I will end here. If you have any questions, please.
Well, I have a question. I'm curious if you could share some of the biggest difficulties. It's a really great project, and it sounds like there's been lots of successes, but of course it's not always smooth sailing. So if you don't mind sharing some of the difficulties and maybe how you've been overcoming them.
Oh wow, that's a good question. So the honest truth is, doing something from Africa, you have local challenges such as regulations, alignments across the continent. Like I mentioned, Africa is not homogeneous, it's a heterogeneous continent, different people, different places. So you have market challenges. From Ghana to Nigeria is a different case. From Ghana to Kenya, you have to navigate all these challenges. Beyond that, we have also realized that perhaps it is due to understanding and trust. And the ecosystem, the global ecosystem, is yet to trust African founders and builders and the communities to enable them and support and having resources distributed, perhaps in a much more equitable manner. And so funding is a major challenge. So I'll give a typical example. muAccra, for example, they did muChamai, bonus IRAs. They raised all the money to be able to do this tool. But when it came to muAccra, Veronica, the same quality, the same approach, but the budget to do muAccra were never raised. In fact, we have to squeeze ourselves with the Mu team led by Son and V and the rest, squeeze ourselves. The entire team worked on the project, plan everything for 6 months, no salary, no nothing, everything for free because we couldn't raise the money to even, I mean, support the team in terms of the paid, their commitment, nothing. So these are practical challenges. There will be sometimes, oh, there's public good funding, you apply and you never get in. So these are some of the challenges, but in the midst of this, Veronica, for us, it's not about the incentive, it's about solving the problem to make impact, solve the problem to enable people see opportunity and the value, and therefore that enables us to create trust and reputation. So that's some of the challenges we have. But nonetheless, we are still executing, we are still building. We are open for support, we are open for financial support, resources, funding, mentorship, and other things. Ultimately, we still do it anyway, but it will take us longer. But with the support, the right funding, I think it can accelerate and for us to get there faster. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eric. Definitely can resonate with some of those challenges, but I think if you believe strongly in something, then you get bootstrap or you make it work, even if it's voluntary or it's not always the strongest incentives aligned. Well, thank you so much for joining us virtually. It's hope that next time you can join in person. Hope to see you somewhere in the world, wherever that is next time. Thank you again, Eric.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for giving the opportunity. I really appreciate it. I wish the team all the best. Please, I'm there in spirit. Let's do it. Zalo spirit is spread across the world. Thanks so much and all the best.